like to start the presentation this evening by, basically sharing adults cannot stimulate children and adults cannot, motivate children, to conduct or to be the best selves with greatness unless their own performance is tremendous. So we got to be great and we got to be 100 so we can pour 100 into our students. So this evening, we have 4 key objectives that we're going to cover. We will, 1, share the importance of self-care. We will also list, define, and explain the 4 benefits of solitude. We'll also model common sound therapy techniques and their impact, and we'll provide ways to bring calming strategies through sound therapy into your classroom, schools, community, and/or organization. So again, think about it like this. We're going to start with a question. How can we ensure personal greatness every day, everywhere, for everybody for an entire school year? If you don't have the answer to that question, we are so glad you joined us because Sabrina, how do we ensure we are our best self to pour into our children and assist school leaders with behavior solutions every day? How do we do that?
Well, Dr. Monroe, before I answer that question, I would first like to just define the word somatic. The word somatic is derived from the word soma, which refers to the whole person. And so somatics really refers to the connection between the mind, the body, the heart, and the spirits. So now to answer your question, I truly believe we cannot be our best self if we don't have a balance point between these 4 elements. This is so important. And if we don't have that balance point, we cannot model that behavior to our students. So if we don't practice the things that help us achieve overall greatness and success in our own well-being, we can't model that behavior. In other words, we need to develop our wellness practice of mindfulness, self-care, and yes, solitude.
Got it. So what you're saying is we need to be intentional about how we spend our time. I know that is very difficult for educators because we have so much to juggle each and every day.
Well, that's correct. And I truly understand how challenging time can be, but I know everybody listening here has Google Calendar, and sometimes just scheduling in self-care, the way you schedule in all your appointments, is the best way to achieve that. So once again, it is crucial for you to schedule in your own self-care, and sometimes scheduling solitude. Now, I know we're talking about sound healing, and I keep saying the word solitude, but I'm gonna clear that up as we progress, because it is so important to develop these habits of self-care. You also want to remember that self-care is not selfish, it's healthcare.
I like that. Self-care is not selfish, it's healthcare. Well, it's really about routines and habits. We actually call those rituals. Think about it like this. What are some things we do daily that ensure we are successful in school, and not only in school, but also in life? Personally, I plan my daily attire on the week, like on Sunday nights for the whole entire week. I also set up the coffee maker, believe it or not, before going to bed at night. And I open my computer to the next project and actual email tab. So when I wake up, I am set to have an effective start to my day. These 3 simple rituals that I do give me a sense of peace and calm, and it helps me to sleep better before I lay down at night.
Okay. Well, I think probably a lot of people listening probably have similar habits or rituals, as you say. But really, truly, that's just scratching the surface. These daily chores can become a meditative and mindful practice if we allow them to engage all of our senses. However, if they become forced or create a feeling of stress around the activity, it can actually be counterproductive in assisting and helping to achieve our goals of self-care and end up being just another tool to help with time management. Time management is very different than self-care. As teachers, you need to make time to recover so you can have peak performance when you're in the classroom. And that's the only way to get the children in the classroom to emulate that behavior. So really we need to go a little deeper. I'm sure most of you have heard the analogy to put the oxygen mask on yourself before you help others if there's an incident, right? We all know that. Well, mindfulness in many ways is putting that mask on first.
I got you. I got you. We have to take care of ourselves before we can take care of others. Well, you know what, Sabrina? I know you're
Exactly.
right. And you know what? Recovery time is essential for educator wellness. And because without recovery time, we probably get burnt out, which is so often what we see now is there's been, an increase in educators leaving the profession post COVID. According to data from the Bureau of Labor Statistics, around 300,000 public school teachers and other related staff have left the education field since February of 2020 to 2022. And just this year alone in 2024, we've lost about 62,000 educators. So I hear you loud and clear. You know what? Think about it. How do you feel after a day or two of rest or relaxation or following an amazing getaway? I know personally, I often feel rejuvenated, well, refreshed, which positively impacts my energy and performance. And I go to work ready to go after that, I tell you. It's a full feeling of happiness in my mind, body, and spirit.
Exactly. Exactly. But we can't go on vacation every weekend. So, what I would like to invite everyone to do is just take a moment and ask yourself, everyone listening, just truly ask yourself what rituals that you have, and then how do they serve you? Do they help you be more productive in your work day? Or do they actually offer you the somatic approach of working on your whole person, on the mind, body, spirit, and heart connection? Take a moment to reflect on what I just asked you. And remember, if you're writing down things like, I make my coffee every morning, or I drink my coffee every morning, or I walk my dog, those are not working on that somatic whole body approach. Now, if you write down something like, well, I spend 5 minutes in nature just listening to the sounds around me, that's a somatic approach. So once again, I invite you to just take a few minutes and jot down some things. And it's a great way for self-discovery. And as you do this, I'm just going to use this little tuning fork and see if it kind of helps you to just stay focused on thinking about what you do.
I want to make sure that Josh and Charlie write down some things as well. I want to hear what they got going on in their life.
I'm on it.
You know what, Sabrina? I'm going to ask folks if they can put some things in the chat. I'm going to take a look at the chat. Can we have our participants maybe put some things down in the chat that you came up with? And would
Absolutely.
anyone like to share as well?
I will definitely share, and then anybody else can jump in. There's something that I do that is it's just so positive for me. I can't have the beach every day because I love the beach, but I can't be there. But I have this beautiful pond that I live nearby. So I take a walk, I listen to a podcast, and I take a walk. And even if it's just 10 minutes, that 10 minutes makes a big difference. It doesn't have to be a big hour walk. It's just a piece of it. Is that something, Sabrina, that you're talking about?
Charlie, yes, exactly. That 10 minutes can be so crucial in making your day so much better and making everyone's day around you so much better as well.
Josh, do you have anything?
Well, I live in Colorado, so hiking in the mountain where I am disconnected from everything and it's silence and just nature in general. I just feel different. I feel better, refreshed. And then I gotta have movement. I can't sit still for a long period of time. So if I can move my body also, I always feel much better. So I just get just love that environment of just kind of that soothing, peaceful nature walk or hike in the mountains.
Yes, absolutely, 100%. Nature bathing, just surrounding yourself in nature is beautiful. And Josh, one of the wonderful things to do is when you're in nature, just take a moment to just really listen to what you actually hear. Because sometimes we think we're walking in silence, but nature has these beautiful rhythms and frequencies and vibrations that surround us. And that can
Love it.
actually become a meditative state when you're doing that. But for everyone else, if you actually answered, no, I actually don't have these somatic practices, then think about how you could replace some of your habits with things that can serve you better. Because you want to remember that children in the classroom mimic what they see their teachers doing. And so one of the best ways to help with behavior in the classroom is to come in with a positive energy. I think in the previous talk, Charlie wrote, people can feel your emotions.
Yeah.
People can also feel your energy, and children can feel your energy as well. So you really want to think about those things. And as adults, we think we can cope with a lot more than we actually can. But children really have a hard time. They really struggle with that. So if they're in a classroom and there's this negative energy coming from the teacher, it's really going to affect how they behave.
Wow, Sabrina, that's really powerful. Sometimes as teachers, we're frantic and we're all over the place, even as leaders, because it just seems like there's so much going on. And, sometimes, we kind of have to kind of sit still for a minute and just kind of just re-anchor ourselves. My colleagues and I, we've been really exploring the impact of solitude, even at our job. I mean, our superintendent, Dr. Calvary, she's amazing. And, we've really been studying solitude. And, as solitude is really defined as the state of being alone or secluded or away from any distractions. It can also refer to the enjoyment of being alone by choice. Research by Evan Zemeckis in his leadership development article actually lists 4 benefits of solitude. And I think it's important for us to understand that. One, solitude can actually help us to find enhanced creativity and innovation. 2, increase emotional intelligence. 3, heightened decision making. And 4, improve self-reflection and growth, which I know are all things as educators and leaders we really need to embrace. So even that solitude is important and can actually be a somatic practice. Can you elaborate on that a little bit?
Well, that's absolutely correct. But solitude is not about being alone or being silent in a physical sense. It is consciously choosing to invest time, energy, and effort into yourself, creating a mental and emotional space to focus on higher order thinking and learning, and to be true to yourself. Meditation, without question, is one way, but the best part is solitude doesn't have to be silence. I'm going to repeat that. Solitude doesn't have to be silent. Just like what I said with Josh about listening to the sounds that you actually will hear when you're in nature and you think that you're in silence. But Doc, would you please share with everyone what you do for solitude?
Well, you know what, Sabrina, what's funny, what you just said makes a lot of sense. Because what I do for solitude is I actually drum. And drum actually brings me peace. It brings me energy, and it really helps me to relax. I actually use drumming with my students and with adults, especially at-risk students, which I call that promise students, who haven't found a way to positively kind of shift their focus when they're angry or when they're anxious or when they're even frustrated. Drumming has served as a therapeutic way, actually, to help students to de-escalate, to regulate their feelings and actually emotions. I participate in drum circles. I play in 2 bands that allow me to physically, mentally, spiritually, and emotionally to recharge, which is crucial in maintaining resilience and avoiding burnout. Matter of fact, I would like everyone right now to try some drumming. I want you all to do this with me. This is an exercise I actually do with my students, and I do it with my colleagues at times. And we're going to start by actually giving out a rhythm with our mouth. And I want everybody to repeat after me. Everybody say, boom, ba, boom, boom. Let's hear it.
Boom, ba, boom, boom.
But wait a minute. I need a little more excitement. Brother Carter, I need to hear you, man, because you were amazing a second ago. All right? Tell you what, I'm gonna say boom, 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 and I'm gonna say your turn, and then I need to hear y'all say it after me. Here we go. Boom, boom, boom. Your turn.
Boom,
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 boom.
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 My turn. Boom, 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 boom. Your turn.
Boom, boom,
Boom,
boom,
boom, boom,
boom.
boom.
It must be some kind of pause of hesitation in here, but it's all right. We're getting it. We're getting it. But now, what I normally do after the boom, 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 boom is that we clap. So I say it and I clap. Watch. Boom, boom, boom. Your turn.
Boom, boom,
Boom,
boom.
boom, boom.
My turn. Boom, boom, boom. Your turn.
Boom,
And
boom,
the
Boom,
boom,
boom.
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 That's it. See, now I see smiles. You all have forgotten about all of the work you have to do tonight, right? And all the other stuff. But what I normally do is I bring my drums into the classroom. I bring them into workshops because sometimes when kids just see the drum, it shifts. It causes a shift, a mental shift in what was going on. And we might do the boom, boom, boom. Your turn. Boom, boom, boom. My turn. Boom, boom, boom. Your turn.
Boom, boom, boom. Am I doing this alone or what? Come on.
Ah, so let's
I think
try one together. And it's very easy. So again, I'm going to go boom, 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 boom. Your turn. And you pick up right on that rhythm with your boom, 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 boom. Here we go.
Do I?
Boom, boom, boom. Your turn.
Boom, 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 boom.
Boom.
My turn. Boom, boom, boom. Your turn.
Boom,
And
boom,
the boom,
boom.
boom.
Lavana, you are doing an excellent job. I'm loving the energy I'm feeling over there. Loving that energy. Now, you can get real cute with it because sometimes the kids will sing a song with you because that boom, 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 boom can go for anything. Listen. The wheels of the bus go round and round, round and round, round and round. The wheels of the bus go round and round, all through the town. So the
Love
kids
it.
will join in with you. So yeah, Sabrina, you're right. I guess solitude doesn't have to be silent. And what's cool about that is it just makes everybody feel good and it opens us up for learning or for whatever the teacher or the leader or the administrator is trying to get us to understand. And you know what? Drumming is actually an ancient practice going back to 5500 BC. What else can you tell us about sound, Sabrina?
Well, Doc, currently in our country, there is a relationship between ancient traditions like drumming and science. So this union has actually produced a growing interest in what we're discussing tonight, wellness modalities. And there are an array of somatic practices such as somatic movement like yoga, Pilates, gyrotonic, Qigong, Feldenkrais, somatic dance. There's breath work, meditation, somatic art therapy, journaling. And at the forefront of this new growing interest in mindful techniques is sound healing or sound therapy. And percussion is a huge part of that world. And definitely it is a somatic practice and it is a great tool to introduce to children. But it's also having drumming circles for adults is a great way to relax and release.
Cool.
Doc, I do believe that you've actually used drums with some of your kids, right? And have had some really positive experiences. Would you mind sharing one of them?
Well, you know what? As a mentor and someone who's always working with students, one of my kids that I mentor has a goal, and he has a goal that he will use effective communication strategies by actually playing and replicating drum patterns as a way to practice thinking before acting. We know all students really need to exercise that thinking before acting, and quote, this is what he said, which is so funny. He said, drumming makes me happy and takes bad feelings away. I drum when I get mad because it reduces my anger and I don't destroy my property or personal belongings because it's better to hit the drum than a person, the wall, or my sister. And you know what I said? I agree. I agree 100%. So again, I
Wow.
do use drumming with my students, and that was a quote from one of the students I mentored.
Yeah, that's actually really, really powerful. And I bet all of you have had some experiences where sound has just really changed your mood. For instance, I'm going to ask you all a couple of questions. Have you ever just been feeling kind of down and a song comes on the radio and the next thing you know, your spirit is so lifted and all of a sudden you just want to jump to your feet and start dancing? I know I've experienced that. Or what about you're in the shower and you just start thinking about a tune and you start humming and you start singing and the next thing you know, you feel like you're transported to an entirely different place. Or
Oh
even
yeah.
in the movies and a song comes on and you get this tingle up your spine. Any one of those experiences, if you have actually answered yes to one of those things there was one of those scenarios that I just presented to you, then you've actually had a positive connection with sounds. And like Dr. Monroe mentioned, people have used sound healing for centuries through drumming, their voice, and other vibrations. As a matter of fact, the first sense that we develop as babies in the womb is the sound from the mother's heartbeats. So sound is really, really powerful. All matter in the universe is constantly in a state of vibration. The atoms and the molecules that make up every object on Earth are vibrating and resonating various frequencies. These different sound frequencies promote relaxation, they reduce stress, they improve physical and mental well-being. They can help with things like digestive issues, sleep disorders, PTSD, and believe it or not, there are actually studies out there about how sound therapy is actually benefiting cancer patients.
Wow.
So our own voice can help create a vibration and it can stimulate our vagus nerve and put us into a state of rest and digest, and get us out of that fight or flight mode. And it can also do the same thing for our kids. And we can use our voice simply by humming. So I'm going to invite you guys to just try this. You don't have to turn on your mics if you don't want to, but I want you to just try this. So I just want you to think about the E in the simple word me. Just think E, right? I want you to take a nice big inhale. And as you exhale out the hum of that E. Yeah. And just try one more time. Just take a nice big inhale and think about where you feel that. I felt that on the top of my head. That's where that vibration hit me. But think about it yourself. Where did it hit you? Did you actually try it? And did you feel that anywhere? Now I want you to think about the ooh in the word you. Very simple, right? And we're gonna do that same humming action and try to see if you feel it in the same place or someplace different. So inhale. Ooh.
I feel that one a little lower. That's a little lower.
Yes, that's right, Dr. Monroe. Yes. For me, I feel it in my lower abdomen. So just making these simple sounds with our voice creates this vibration, this frequency in our body, and we feel those in different places.
Hey, Sabrina, let me stop you for a moment. So you mentioned that this sound therapy can help with like test anxiety and whatnot. So if I'm getting ready for my end of the year assessments or maybe a quiz or a test, these are some things I can do before we have our classroom assessments and whatnot.
Absolutely. It'll help the kids. Yep. And if you're interested in learning more about just how humming is, I recommend a great book. It's called The Humming Effect, Sound Healing for Health and Happiness by Jonathan Goldman. And I highly do recommend that because he talks about all the benefits of humming.
You know what, Sabrina? We only have 5 minutes left. And I know that you had some other interesting tools that make noises. And I want to make sure our audience can see those before we, open it up for some Q&A. So what do you have for us?
Wow. Okay. Yeah, well, this is just flown by. So yes, I would love to actually just let you all experience a very simple meditation with some crystal bowls. Crystal bowls are actually kind of the new rock star, so to speak, in the sound. And that was a little joke. I don't know if anybody got that or not, but these are my crystal bowls, and these are actually made infused with obsidian. And I have a bunch of different bowls, but these ones I'd like to play, and as I play them for you, I just ask you just close your eyes for a second. And I'm not gonna play for long because we will run out of time. So I just want you to close your eyes, take a nice big inhale through your nose, exhale through your mouth.
Wow, Sabrina, that was really, really, really powerful, man. Wow. Kind of took me to another place for a second. As an educator, I can see the benefit of these practices for students and even for adults, as we need to find ways to kind of anchor ourselves and to find some inner peace. How can educators bring these practices into their classrooms?
Well, I would first like to suggest the drumming exercise. Kids love making noise. And if you include that in your classroom as a fun activity, the doc's simple little bum, bum, bum with their voice, with their hands clapping, with their hands on the desk, with their hands or feet, that is a wonderful tool. They'll get engaged. You can put them in a circle. You can keep them at their desks, but they will get engaged and they will release energy and they'll relax. It's a wonderful tool. The other thing is those humming exercises. Humming is a great tool for kids and they will really respond to it. I've done it with a ton of kids. It works. They love it. The other thing is just simply bringing them into solitude, letting them focus on their breath. Think about inhaling through their nose, exhaling through their mouth. I like, especially with kids, I like to tell them, think about inhaling their favorite flower, the scent of their favorite flower, exhaling out a candle, and just having them sit there in stillness. And as educators, you can, gently just bring in some wind chimes. And you can walk along the classroom using the wind chimes as they just focus on their breath, puts them in a great place, releases anxiety. Now, this particular wind chime is actually made in Europe and it's used for sound healers, but you don't have to get anything this fancy. You can go to Walmart or Target and pick up a really inexpensive wind chime and it'll work just as good. So those three simple tools are great to start introducing sound into the classroom.
Well, Sabrina, let me ask you this. How can counselors, school therapists, behavior specialists, even superintendents and CEOs in the corporate education field bring these things into their divisions or even into their organizations?
Well, certified somatic practitioners such as myself are available to teach self-care workshops. And what we do is we come in and we recommend modalities that are best for each individual and what that individual is going through. And so resourcing out to other professionals, such as practitioners like somatic practitioners, can open doors to new exercises, activities, and resources. It's all about education, motivation, and awareness. And that's what the tools of a somatic practitioner can bring to the table.
That's awesome. Well, let me tell you, it was a plum, pleasing pleasure to collaborate with you this evening. Charlie, it's always great to see you. Josh, you're a superstar. Nice to meet you tonight.